We welcome you to Las Vegas, the site of the 2018 NBA Summer League.
We got to play harder than them. All right, this is the challenge.
We've got great matchups almost every time you turn around.
Welcome to Las Vegas in the NBA, big fella.
Very excited being on that floor, just running up and down with the guys.
Oh, Jared Jackson got him again! And what a block! Oh, my goodness! Daniel House is in the house.
You got to be rolling with the right T-shirt.
I blame Drake.
Bob called me and he said, "You're not going to believe this, but we have a shot at DeMarcus Cousins," and we just felt like we didn't have enough All-Stars. So we're trying to finish off a pretty good first quarter just inside the tape. Knocks it down. 15 first quarter points for Malik Monk. And Bender with a big block. How would you describe that?
Very nice road still here, and I'm just very happy to be here.
Josh Jackson with the rejection on Marvin Bagley.
I want to improve defensive end to the point where people are scared whenever they're going up for a shot and I'm around.
Big smile on Fred's face here. It's great.
Oh, the follow.
With the one-hand jam on the break. Room service. And a big win.
The Summer League has become amazing. All 30 teams here for the first time.
Yes, sir.
Welcome to the MGM Resorts NBA Summer League from Las Vegas, Nevada. The action continues inside, outside, in the hallways. Basketball is it here in Las Vegas in the first half of the month of July. And at the Cox Pavilion, we have a game coming up between the unbeaten Charlotte Hornets as they face the Boston Celtics. I am joined once again on ESPN2 by PJ Carlesimo and George Sedano, who will join us in a second. We've had so many great players. We just saw a great duel of point guards between Colin Sexton and Aaron Holiday of Cleveland, Indiana. You've seen so many young players. What's impressed you the most so far, 3.5 days into Las Vegas?
I like all the matchups. The good news is with all 30 teams here, and these teams playing, at least a minimum 5 games, it doesn't matter who's playing who. There's a good matchup to be seen and to be enjoyed. So that's fantastic. The one player that's impressed me the most early, and that's off his first 2 games, he's still got to play game 3, is Kevin Knox for the Knicks. I had him in the regular season in one of our crossover games for Kentucky, but he showed his versatility. He shot the ball from out deep. He's very comfortable. He's got range. He's done that, but he's put it on the floor. He's taken some hits. He's had more highlight dunks than anybody here in the Summer League. But you look at the numbers, 22, and then he backs it up with 19. 8 boards in one game, 5 in the other. A couple assists both games. But it's NBA ready. That's what impresses me. He's big, he's strong, he's quick. He's played with an awful lot of confidence. There's a buzz every time the Knicks play. The crowds have been bigger, and Thomas and Matt. To me, he sent out the message, hey, I'm ready. I'm not a rookie. I'm ready to play right now. And he's so young. The best is yet to come from Kevin Knox.
He's 18 years old, and he hasn't even started to shave yet. And yet Charlotte had to wake up one morning to the news that Tony Parker was not a San Antonio Spur anymore after 17 years. He's joining the Charlotte Hornets.
Well, I mean, that's great news for Charlotte. Whatever happens with Kemba, if he's playing with Kemba behind him, showing him the ways, that's going to be a great thing. If they end up making a move, and Tony Parker is going to be even more important and a bigger role for the Hornets.
And yet, as we take a look at these matchups, we will have a point guard trying to get a job in Devontae Graham of the Charlotte Hornets, who win the tip against the Celtics.
Devontae Graham has played extremely well both games.
Look how slim Billy Hernan-Gomez looks right now. He's devoted the summer to really polishing off his game, especially extending his range as Devontae Graham gets the scoring done underway. So with Kemba Walker in his last year of his contract, Tony Parker now backing him up, a definite team need in Charlotte. We still need a third point guard in this team, as Jabari Burr is doing a tremendous job for the Celtics this summer, leading them in scoring and co-leading them in rebounds, as we see a final putback by Seji Ojalaye.
Shemi Ojeley's done a good job. Again, we talked about it's so important for the guys who've already been on the league. And Shemi Ojeley played some very big minutes for Brad Stevens last year. But again, in summer league, chance to show some things or do some things the coaching staff ask you to show that you're capable of doing.
How about Miles Bridges with a 3?
Miles Bridges has struggled shooting the ball, Alvaro, but he's a good player. I've liked his floor game. I've not liked the way he shot it.
Bird, no look pass inside, and it's good by Gershon Yabusele.
First shot, Yabusele down low for the Boston basket.
JP Macura on the court, replacing Malik Monk, who broke a bone in his right hand and will be out between 6 and 8 weeks. One of the big losses here in the Summer League happened at the very, very end.
Excellent first game, 23 points, a 1-point win, and then he gets hurt on the last play of the game.
Little flamingo shot by the youngster Ojeley. Played important minutes in the playoffs for Brad Stevens.
One of the things they've asked him to show is his three-point shooting. That wasn't it there, but they want him to work on it. They feel he's improved it, and they've asked him to take more threes in the Summer League games.
Travel by Hernan Gomez. And now we have George Sedano joined by a very special guest.
Thanks, Alvaro. Appreciate it. Here, Malik Monk of the Charlotte Hornets. Malik, we actually have some video that we were going to show here of your reaction when Tony Parker was signed with the team. What do you feel like now? Have you gotten a chance to kind of process the whole situation with Tony being part of the team?
I still haven't processed it yet. It's still surreal to me. I've been watching him since I was little. I've been doing all his drills and stuff like that. So to have him on our team is a big key, and I'm still overwhelmed with it.
What, are you looking to reach out to him here at some point?
Yeah, for sure. I got to. He on my team for a reason.
Nice save. Thank you.
Yeah, he on my team for a reason, so I got to.
And you got me there, too. Malik, how's the hand feeling?
Yes, all right. I'm going to get another x-ray to see if it's really broke. We don't think so. But it's feeling all right now.
You were looking pretty good, obviously, out there, feeling more comfortable the second time around. What's this season looking like for you? What are you hoping to accomplish?
Just what I did at the end of the season, show people I can play basketball on the court with anybody, don't matter the height or defense, anything like that. Just show people I can play basketball.
Malik, thanks so much for the time, and thanks for saving me.
Yeah, no problem, man. Appreciate you having me.
You got it. Take care. Back to you guys.
Thank you, Malik. Thank you, George. Malik made 4 of 9 threes in that opening game when he scored 23 points to lead all scores. Devontae Graham now scores again. The seesaw battle. Pierre Henry was playing really well at the point and ball handling duties for the Celtics. A combo guard with Jabari Bird. Dwayne Bacon. Hernan Gomez gets hacked, but it simply goes out of bounds. Let's take a look at Malik Monk finding out the news about Tony Parker being a Buzz City resident.
Tony Parker.
You hear about that?
I'm playing with Tony Parker?
Yeah, Charlotte signed Tony Parker.
When?
Just like an hour ago.
For real?
For real.
Well, there you go. I mean, just kind of what are your first thoughts?
We got Tony Parker?
Where?
That's crazy. I didn't even know that. Nah, that's crazy. I needed that.
I mean, to have a guy like that come in, I mean, just kind of what are your, obviously your first reactions to it?
Oh, you seen my first check. Nah, I'm gonna try to get his number as quickly as possible and learn as much as I can. I didn't even know we had him. That's crazy.
Wonderful sequence of Malik finding out he's going to be joined by a guy whose drills he practices. Now, the funny thing is, Tony Parker's low post moves came as a result of watching Michael Jordan penetrate. And he was excited to go to Charlotte because of Michael Jordan being the owner.
Well, if you want to learn, you learn from the best. Tony did it when he was a youngster, and I was lucky enough to be with him in San Antonio for 5 years. And he certainly took it to a next level during his career for the Spurs.
More on TP and the Hornets and Malik Monk when we come back. Bucks is up by 2.
Coverage of MGM Resorts NBA Summer League 2018 is brought to you by Dave & Buster's, the only place to eat, drink, play, and watch sports.
Never, ever a dull moment in Vegas, and that applies to the Las Vegas NBA Summer League. Right now, the Wizards and the 76ers are playing Thomas and Mack, and for those of you keeping score, Furman Korkmaz has only 1 point, so he must have put all his shots.
Down.
Yes.
His arm's sore, that's why.
That's right. 40 points in the opener. 40. fifth highest total in the Vegas Summer League as Bridges goes right after his shot to grab the rebound.
Miles Bridges has not been bashful.
Henry traipsing through the paint.
Perrier, that's a nice move. Jerry Larinaga, the Summer League coach. See the right hand there from Miles Bridges. Jay Larinaga really likes Perrier Henry's point guard skills. Really thinks it helps the team. Summer League, you love to have a point guard that can get you into things, can handle the ball, and can get the ball distributed.
Jared Rudolph with a double and a foul by Nakura.
From the baseline, top the bucket, he'll go to the line.
Jay Larinaga talking to his staff. Look at this nice little move.
55, J.P. Makura. His first personal.
Makura had good position. I don't know if there was much contact there, but Jared Rudolph decided to go back.
Larinaga's been in demand in the interviewing circuit. The Celtics, of course, made it all the way to the Eastern Conference Final. 43-year-old, seventh season with the Celtics. But here's the interesting part. He's played in Greece, France, Italy, and Spain. He won a ACB championship with Real Madrid. So he knows everything about being an American playing overseas. And then he played for the Irish national team as a player and as a coach.
It's a full resume right there. It's Jay Larinaga's father, the great head basketball coach at the University of Miami, Jim Larinaga.
Effort on the part of the Dancing Bear, Gershon Yabusele, who has talked about the need to get back into shape. He says it's really not a matter of diet, it's a matter of habits. Tony Bacon off the curl.
He does need a little less bacon though, if he wants to get back into better shape.
Semi Ojeleye gets the bucket and the foul. 6 points for Semi.
Charlotte foul number 41.
I would say listed at 260, probably closer to 290 right now.
But he is light on his feet. He moves very, very well.
That's why Micah Shrewsbury, who came from Butler with Brad Stevens, nicknamed him the Dancing Bear.
3-point play for the Celtics.
And you know that Bill Belichick shows up at Celtics games. He may recruit him as well.
He's there on a regular basis.
Nan Gomez attacking Udo. Goes for the rebound. Here comes Trey Davis. And there's Yabusele with the bucket. Trey Davis was a late addition to this team. Played at UMass. He's a 25-year-old. A 12-2 run by the Celtics. And a timeout by Jay Hernandez.
Back to Las Vegas, the Boston Celtics jumping on the Hornets early. 21-11, Semi Ojeleye showing the way for Boston, and he's doing it in a lot of different ways. He's running the floor, he's on the offensive glass. He's 3 for 4, his 7 points lead the Celts. Timeout to regroup right there by Jay Hernandez, the Charlotte Summer League coach.
Jay in his first year with the Hornets, with first-year coach James Borrego as well. Borrego coming in from San Antonio. One of the reasons why Tony Parker felt that the move made a lot of sense for him.
No question, he's very comfortable with JB. JB started years ago. JB and I were together in San Antonio, and of course he was with Tony. Tony 17 years for the Spurs.
Bacon with
wearing the
another,
silver and black.
Bacon with another tough shot.
He's been aggressive. He's played well. There's no question that he's tried to be aggressive right here. 11, first game, 22 the second game. Second-year guy out of Florida State.
Johnson.
Billy Hernan Gomez not getting started yet. He's coming off a pair of double-doubles where he's really been dominant. 0 for 2 early here.
And also getting to the free throw line a lot. Davis with a step. He may have had a shot. Rudolph with the 3. Nice decision by Trey Davis.
Utah, Boston 3 ball.
15-2 run by the Celtics. And dominating from the paint, 12-2 as well.
They're getting easy shots.
Wayne Bacon. Correction.
Terry Henderson.
For 3.
Part of a group of Hornets. Oh, tough move. Keelan Martin can't make the shot. That's your man. That's Billy.
Gomez with the tip in for the Hornets.
Getting points off boards, collecting boards.
14 boards in the first game, 10 in the second one.
And now Jay Larraga calls for the timeout as Charlotte cuts the Boston lead down to 8. 2 minutes to go in the first.
Charlotte finally trying to get back in the game. Bacon with the miss, Hernan Gomez with the finish. The reason he was able to finish, they switched it. When you switch, you end up with a mismatch. A much smaller guy, Kadeem Allen, has his hands full trying to keep Billy Hernan Gomez off the boards.
As you see, James Borrego, JB, as everybody knows him, was an interim coach in Orlando. He's speaking to Jay Triano to his left, to our right on the screen, who coached the Phoenix Suns at the end most of last season. Jay also coaches the Canadian national team, and there's Mitch Kupchak, North Carolina product, as a player, as an athlete in the NCAAs, and now a GM, and he's been quite active at the center position, hasn't he?
Well, he has, and Mitch is so happy to be back in North Carolina. He knows there's work to be done with that roster, and he's gone after it a little bit. That's good. Obviously, you lose Dwight Howard, they bring in Timofey Mozgov. Certainly a time for change in Charlotte.
And then they ship Mozgov on that 3-team deal, and they get Bismack Biyombo back.
Exactly.
Charlotte foul number 31, Joe G.
Now with
his first personal foul.
In Charlotte, with
foul
Cody
every
Zeller at the center position, you've got Billy Hernan Gomez as well. You've seen him here, and now you've got Biyombo. How do you think it's going to shake out?
Well, I think there's minutes to be played. It's not like any of those guys are 35, 37-minute players. There's tons of time for them in there. It gives them the flexibility to go both ways. I like Billy Hernan Gomez when he played in New York. He gets things done. We talked about how well he's done here. He's put points up. He's done a very good job. 16 and 14 in the first game and 22 and 10. Cody Zeller gives you a different dynamic right there, certainly as Bismack does. So again, it's still going to take them time. It's going to depend on how JB wants to play. I'm also anxious to see what they do with Kemba Walker.
They've got a couple of instructions. See a tough shot by Bridges again. Number one, pace. They want to be one of the quicker teams in the league in terms of number of possessions per game. Last year they were 9th, so they were no laggards. Second thing he wants them to do is become a top 10 defense. Now that's easier said than done. In 3 out of the last 4 years under Steve Clifford, they were. Last year they came down to 16th out of 30 teams in defensive efficiency, and that's under Steve Clifford and with Dwight Howard playing in that defense. You see a push and a foul by Joe Chealy.
Well, that makes a big difference. Steve Clifford's an excellent defensive coach. He's going to get a chance to in Orlando also. But JB will bring that philosophy, the defensive philosophy, along with playing quickly to the table. But they need to be healthy, and it's going to take them a while to implement a system. You just don't come in, change coaches, and be that successful.
Summer League action continues tonight in Las Vegas on NBA TV and the ESPN app. Golden State and Dallas at 7:30 Eastern, Orlando, Phoenix at 9:30, and then Clippers and Houston at 11:30 Eastern, all on NBA TV and the ESPN app. Now, the interesting thing is Jay Hernandez in his first Summer League coaching gig, a block by Utov, and a foul underneath. Under the instructions of JB, there's Jay. He played at Hofstra with Speedy Claxton under Jay Wright, now the Villanova coach. He was in Orlando last year under Frank Vogel, a great development coach. He had a business developing players, including NBA players. One of his proteges has been working for at least 3 years in the New York area is someone by the name of Kemba Walker.
Under 2 minutes. Shooting 2 throws for the
Kemba Walker, I tell you what, Kemba Walker had a great year. He's obviously done a good job paying attention. The trend in the league now, it's a 12-month job, and players working with their individual trainers or coaches, supplemented by the fact that we've got such great practice facilities in the NBA now. So players spend more time. They come back earlier. Impressive finish in there.
Hassan Martin with the cut and the emphatic two-pointer.
We had a little delay game warning, but again, beautiful look. Right there. I touched the ball after he dunked it, but again, no defense for that emphatic finish. But again, it was the penetration and the pass that made the play.
Trey Davis was celebrating the assist before the bucket. Luke Petrasek on the court. Marksman, tremendous outside shooter. Johnson misses. Here's Bridges underneath, and he makes the basket.
Miles Bridges is the rebound and the put back for the Hornets deuce.
We talked in the first game, Alvaro, about Colin Sexton and Aaron Holiday, point guards, having to, being able to slow it down, take good care of the ball. Talking about taking good care of the ball, Boston is yet to turn the ball over. One of the reasons they put 30 points on the board here in the first quarter.
And that is the end of the first quarter. At 10-point Celtics lead, JB, James Borrego, will join us for the second quarter. Celtics lead, the Hornets fighting back in this game as we're joined by Jay Hernandez's boss, JB. James Borrego, congratulations, welcome. How are you enjoying being, you're not a first-time coach in the NBA, you're not. How are you being totally in charge of a program?
Well, it's new. I mean, this is our program now, and making the adjustment, it's been a lot of work, but I think we found some good people. We have a good core of guys. Mitch has been great. The organization making the transition here. So we feel like we're in a good place. My family's excited, very excited. I'm excited. I'm thrilled to get going, but so far so good.
How about you guys in Summer League? What's your impression so far? Looking at the young, actually looking at some other guys too. I mean, it's not just your young guys, a lot of new players to you.
Yeah, a lot of new guys. Some of our core guys are here, 2 of our draft picks. A couple guys that should be in the rotation next year as well. A couple good games so far. We're trying to implement, as you guys know, a system here. We have 3 days to practice before this. But, a little bit of our offensive philosophy, some of our defensive. Incorporating Miles here into the program has been big for us. Seeing what he can bring us this year, his versatility as we see here, is big for us. We need him to grow and take a step. And Malik Monk, Monk.
Well, that was a shame. He was 23, played so well in the first game.
PJ, he's had a great summer. He's worked extremely hard in the gym. He's been in the gym 5 days a week. And, after that first game to have that injury, obviously he's a setback for us. But we look forward to him having a big start for us to the season.
Your principles include higher pace, or as high a pace as you can get, with an emphasis on early offense if the opportunity allows.
That's right. I mean, we want to be very effective first 5 to 8 seconds of the shot clock. When you watch video, you look at numbers, that's when your best shots come. So we want to have a high-paced team, get off the floor. We believe we have the personnel to do that. Kemba Walker, Tony Parker now, Malik Monk, Nick Batum, and our athletes can spread the floor and get to the rim as well.
And I hear that the summer Hornets have a philosophy called play simple.
Play simple. That's it.
How does that translate to the Charlotte Hornets?
Well, we are going to play simple. We're going to play a very simple game, keep the floor spread, play out of 0.5, quick decisions, get to the rim, open up the floor, hit the open man. It's very simple. We've had that philosophy in San Antonio. We'll adopt that in Charlotte. Make the extra pass, find the open man, and get the good to great shot.
You certainly know TP extremely well, all the years you guys spent together in San Antonio. TP will be on the floor sometimes with Kemba also. It's not like it's going to be one or the other for you, or am I wrong in assuming
I think we'll go there. He'll obviously be the backup. Kemba, he's going to live somewhere between 33, 34 minutes a night. Then we'll add, Tony will add the 14, 15, 16 minutes to back up. But I could see these two closing the game. Tony's closed many
those
games.
kind of numbers, the Finals MVP, 4 championships.
And Malik was saying how he looked at Tony's drills to get better. In other words, he's getting a teacher into the team.
He is. I mean, Kemba and Malik both are thrilled. I mean, Kemba, the first thing Kemba says to me, I get to learn from Tony Parker. Malik Monk is thrilled. Just to add that voice to our locker room. But to have a presence on the floor as well, to PJ's point, this is a guy that has finished games his entire career at a very high level, playoff games, and this is the one thing that the Charlotte Hornets in the past have struggled with is closing games. We've been in close games in the past. Now can we close games in the fourth quarter? Having a guy like Tony that's been there to help Kemba facilitate down the stretch is big for us.
It's going to be enormous. And you make such a great point. So many of the games, people don't understand that so many of the games are so close, so competitive.
Right.
You come down to the last couple possessions of the game, and it's your ability to get the ball to whom you want, to take care of it, and to do what the coach wants at the end of the game. Tony Parker knows very well how to do that.
No question. And, so right now, everybody's taking the ball out of Kemba's hands. So fourth quarter, you put him in pick and roll, which is his strength. We're going to put him in a ton of pick and roll. But they blitz him, they take it out of his hands. Who's that secondary playmaker out there?
Somebody else has to create. Look at Kemba's numbers, the ability, shooting it from downtown.
Right.
Yes, he's a willing passer, but he's got to have the ball in his hand to be a willing passer. And
that's right.
If you can double team him and somebody else can't pick up the slack, that's been a challenge.
Right. And I think that's where Monk comes in. If Monk can take a step and be another playmaker on the floor for us, that's great because he can really shoot the ball. If you take the ball out of Kemba's hands, if that ball can find Monk and he can create, he can shoot the ball. You add Marvin Williams' ability to shoot the ball, and now some of our other playmakers like Nick Batum can play make. He's a very versatile player for us. We feel like we can be an offensive threat most nights.
If those corner threes, Marvin, Malik start raining in, it's a different team.
It's a different team. And we believe we want to shoot threes. We have the personnel. We have the playmakers, as I talked about, with Kemba, Tony, Malik Monk, Nick Batum. And let's not forget about Jeremy Lamb. This is a guy that's coming off a very good season. He's very confident right now going into a contract year. We expect Jeremy Lamb to make another step. He's finishing well. He shoots the ball. So we feel like we have 5 really good playmakers to add to this group.
I'm going to take a step back, BJ, and wanted to ask you about the coaching staff. It's an eclectic group. Describe what you were looking for and what you have in your hands as far as your coaching staff.
Well, I was fortunate in San Antonio to, PJ was one of the first guys that I met in the NBA. I learned from that group, and I've tried to mirror that here with our group, to make it a versatile, diverse type of staff. I didn't know all these guys. Obviously, when you get a job like this, you get hit left and right with guys trying to find a job. But I really want to identify some guys that complement me, that, balance who I am, what I'm looking for, and adding Jay Triano's experience is big for me. He's been there, he's been a head coach. I think that was important, identifying someone that's been the head guy that can see the big picture for me. That's something that PJ gave Pop, many years ago, and something I valued along the line and I've looked for. Then we added Chad Iskey from Washington, someone I valued throughout the league. We've never worked together, but someone that has great experience, especially on the defensive end. And then our player development is a big part. And this, PJ, being in San Antonio, player development is such a big part of a program. So I really went after and identified 3 really high-level player development guys in Jay Hernandez, Ron Norrid, and Dutch Gailey, who was with me in San Antonio.
Yeah, Dutch.
A good old Philly guy.
He's a good man. His mother, a great coach, the Florida women's basketball coach.
That's right. But that's, for us to make that step, it's really player development. You can get better in a trade, you can get better in the draft, but what we control as coaches is our player development group. And so if we get better on the floor, which we have really the last 5-6 weeks, and I think you saw that with Malik Monk these last couple of weeks.
James, thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
All the best this year.
Appreciate it.
May you go visit your family in Albuquerque sometime soon.
Let's do that.
Good luck, JP.
Appreciate it.
Good luck. Thank you.
Thank you.
Summer League action continues tonight in Las Vegas on ESPNU and the ESPN app. Tonight on ESPNU, Milwaukee and Denver at 9 p.m. Eastern, and then Brooklyn, Minnesota at 11 Eastern. Join us. It's also streaming on the ESPN app. Back to game action. It's an 11-point Celtic lead, and make it 13 with a slam dunk by Jabari Bird, who was a two-way player for the Celtics, and essentially It's not going to be easy to get a job with these Celtics and all these players coming back and all the acquisitions. But he's on the verge. If he doesn't get a job with the Celtics, he's going to get a job in the NBA for sure. He's played tremendously well here in Vegas as well, BJ.
No, he's done a nice job making a case for himself. Gershon Yabusele doing a really good job. That was a beautiful backdoor pass, and then he comes up with the block shot and the rebound on the other end.
Tough corner shot, no good for B.J. Johnson. Youngster from LaSalle in Philadelphia. Again, nothing stopping Bird here in Vegas. It's remarkable. Great anticipation by Henry, but the putback by Johnson.
B.J. Johnson with the tip in for the Hornets deuce.
J.P. Mercure on the floor where he spends a lot of time every game.
Yabusele with a foul. Stop action.
Boston foul number 30, Gershon Yabusele. His second personal foul.
Gershon with a beautiful look right there. Backdoor cut. Easy finish set up by a really good pass. This is just turn the corner. Nobody comes to help. Billy Hernangomez got to contest that shot a little better than he did. It's a good look at Jabari.
So in the pre-Kyrie and pre-Gordon Hayward recent Celtics days, you didn't have that one player that could just find his way to the basket consistently. And so you had Olynyk and you had Horford play around the three-point line. Just hollow out the offense and create situations that way. Every big man since has learned that playbook.
Well, you'd like them to be able to do that. Some of the ones aren't that skilled, but adding Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown. Good rebound there by Bridges. All of a sudden, you got a lot of Celtics that are capable of leading the fast break, running the wing, getting something done, and including their bigs. Al Horford's as good a facilitator at the big spot as there is in the league. Devontae Graham and J.P. Mercure, they've made so much happen with their aggressive defense all three games that Charlotte has played. You look at the roster right there. Again, night and day difference. You bring Gordon Hayward and Kyrie back into the fold, but Terry Rozier, the opportunity he got. I think Jason Tatum, you saw how much he was able to do. Brad Stevens got to love the fact that he finally gets to deal with a healthy roster and the depth that he's going to have available to him. And whether Brad would say it or not, I'm sure he's not terribly disappointed that LeBron has changed his address from Ohio out to Los Angeles.
He'll never admit to that. Not in public. You know him well.
No, he's done such an exceptional job, but he's got some pieces to work with now. Depth is such an underrated commodity in the league.
Jared Utoff with the three. Every basket seems to be coming via an assist for the Celtics, who now have 5 turnovers in this quarter and lead by 12.
Well, they're moving the ball. Their defense there forced Billy Hernangomez to step over the end line, but Charlotte looked so much better yesterday. They were more fluid on offense. Celtics ball movement has been better. They've gotten better quality looks.
Utoff now with 12. Inside, Hernangomez, and that's easy.
And that's Devontae Graham again. Devontae Graham is a heady point guard. Interesting to see what James Borrego will do. You can't have enough good point guards, and Devontae Graham has really showed well here. Bill Self, his coach from Kansas yesterday, watched him, and I'm sure he was really happy.
Back into the hands of Davis, but there's a foul. And a stop in play. A 13-point Celtic lead, 2.5 to go in the first half. You can have a problem in having too many great young players, but I don't think the Celtics are going to complain.
No, they're certainly not. And Jaylen Brown, again, you don't want injuries, but it opens some doors. You have to wonder, had Gordon Hayward not come down, could Jason Tatum have been such a productive player for them? Jaylen Brown. Terry Rozier is the one who took advantage of the Kyrie Irving absence, but there's Danny Ainge, the president of basketball operations. Jalen sitting next to him, and Mike Zarin's also here, the assistant GM and the team council. But they took advantage of it. You talked about Jabari Bird before. Jaylen Brown came. I saw Jaylen Brown a lot in Cal Berkeley, and I never thought he would get to this level as quickly as he has. He's taken advantage of the opportunity. These guys are just excellent young players right now, and they're going to be, Alvaro, for a long time.
All right, let's grant Danny Ainge all the credit in the world for spotting talent, and let's grant the coaching staff and development staff all the credit in the world for doing that. You see it so consistently, BJ. As a coach, as you're watching this, what do you you're not there, you can't see it day to day, but what do you perceive should be happening for them to be so consistent? It's like a factory.
Well, Brad Stevens is so good. Danny Ainge knew that, and Danny Ainge deserves credit, I think, on two counts. One, clearly, for the roster he's put together, and for some of the guys that he saw and just appreciated how much more talented they were than some other people. But the thing that I think he did that was even more important, he knew what a talented coach Brad Stevens was.
Yes.
And from the day one when he was there, he had Brad's back. We're looking at Brad right there.
6 years.
And he set the bar low. He said, we're going to rebuild. I don't expect to see things happening right away. I happened to be there. I did about 20 games for the Celtics Brad's first year. All their road games. Tommy Heinsohn wasn't making the road trips that year. And I got a chance to see it. And so many other coaches have come into the league, and they didn't have that kind of support from ownership, particularly from the GM or the president of basketball operations. Danny Ainge, his partnership with Brad Stevens has been so good. And when he's given Brad, he was patient, and he's given Brad the tools to work with. Brad's done as good a job as anyone can do, putting these pieces together. And he's constantly had to revamp it and, change things, injuries, different players, trades. He's never missed a beat.
And let's not forget that Danny Ainge had the cold blood to trade some of the stars of that team when they were just over the apex of their career. Many teams would have hung on to them. And he didn't. He understood. He lived through it at the end of the Bird, McHale, Parrish era that he lived through. He didn't want to repeat that, but it takes a lot of guts.
He's been a friend
in Boston to do that.
No, without question. And Danny's been a friend for a long time. And I used to always say it hurts me to say it. I can't say that anymore. He's done such an exceptional job in both cases. The way he first spotted, hired Brad, and then supported him and gave him the wherewithal. Players know whether management has their back or not. And it's not easy as a college coach to come into this league. And they knew from day one Brad was the coach, was going to be the coach for a long time. There's Mike Zarin sitting next to Jalen, the assistant GM. And I think that was a great thing they did. But the moves that Danny has made, and then what Brad did when he got this team is amazing. Great story.
Where with a great penetration, but they couldn't finish. You've seen enough players from the outside. You're not inside, but what is a Brad Stevens-like player? The one that sticks with him for a while, the one that understands the system, plays through it, understands the value system.
Well, first of all, they have to be a smart player. They've got to be a good listener because Brad simplifies the game for them. You see the progression from the beginning. Yeah, 305 in the first year, didn't qualify under 500, but a playoff team the second year, losing the first round 2 years in a row. But there was never a question. Brad Stevens is our coach and is going to be for a long time.
You need to come to Vegas if you want to see the future. Let's take a look at what happened last year. Some of the outstanding players, Mitchell, Kuzma, Tatum, Jackson, and Smith Jr. What happened to them in the regular season? They basically picked it up where they left off in Vegas. What happened in Vegas didn't stay in Vegas.
It's a great point. I'll tell you what, a lot of these guys, it's over, and people say, yeah, okay, but it was Summer League. It wasn't for these guys. It was just the first step, and they built on it. The All-NBA rookie first team got their start right here. And again, those guys in particular, Donovan and Jason, you just watched them. You could see Kyle Kuzma, I think, surprised people a little bit. All the buzz was on Lonzo Ball, and rightfully so. But that Laker team that won the Summer League championship here last year, I happened to do, I think, 3 of their games. You watched a couple games. I remember turning in, I think it was Mark Jones from Jonesy. This guy's going to help them this year. He's not just a good Summer League player. He's a good NBA player.
What a hustle by Hernan Gomez. He couldn't finish. Underneath the basket, it's good.
Cardinal rule, you never save the ball underneath the other team's basket unless you see who you're saving it to. Gershon broke that rule that time.
The Celtics spent the first quarter without a blemish, without a turnover. They've got 10 in the second. See the last 15 seconds of the quarter. And Gomez with another board.
Big bucket here for Charlotte going in at halftime. Jay Hernandez knows that. That's why he's getting a timeout.
As Vili is on his way to a double-double, he's got 8 boards and 6 points.
Back to Charlotte, Miles Bridges. Interesting game again. He's been very, very productive, but he's been unable to finish. He's done everything but shoot it well. He knocks that one down again. Good numbers, 7 points, 5 boards, and that's kind of been the story of Miles for the entire Summer League so far. You see the versatility, the right hand, the left hand. He can put it on the floor. He can shoot it deep. He's averaging 10 points, but he's only shooting just under 30% from the field, and he was 0 for 8 coming in from the three-point line. But I think that's a lot more good. The things he's doing, Alvaro, I think are important. He's moving the ball, he passes it well, he shows his versatility. The shot's just not falling yet, and we know historically he can shoot the ball.
4 seconds to shoot. Here comes Hernan Gomez. And that is the end of the first half. A 9-point Boston Celtics lead at halftime,
Charlotte wins the point for the
as Charlotte is unbeaten so far in this tournament. You watch a lot of basketball. Jay Hernandez trying to get this team on track. They are scuffling. You're seeing a lot of shots at the end of possessions. You're seeing a lot of errant passes. They're not coordinated.
No, they played much better earlier, but they're getting after it. And usually it's not a coincidence. The other team's getting into you. It's not flowing as much. The other thing that's a little bit different, 3 games in 4 days is different. You got some back-to-backs. Some teams played Friday, Saturday. Some teams took a day off. But 3 games in 4 days is more than these players are used to, other than like a Christmas-time tournament. That never happens in college.
Charlotte began the day as one of 8 unbeaten teams. New Orleans lost. Is off that list. Charlotte could be next. Makura went for the steal. Graham takes the rebound. Too long, too far ahead of Makura for him to do anything off that pass. A missed opportunity for Charlotte.
Yeah, Devontae Graham was holding his head. He couldn't believe he missed it. He makes his living delivering good passes. He's picked up again with it today. 6 points and 4 assists for Devontae, but that pass was just a little too long, even for the sprinting J.P. Makura.
7th turnover for the Hornets. Bird was just waiting for Hernan Gomez to drop his guard. It took a second, and then he recognized it, went for the shot.
Boom. Give me an opening.
And then Billy just shook his head like, he got me. He got me.
Wow, that's some pass there.
Yeah, confident pass. There you go. To Billy. Yes! And that's not new. That's not new. This is second one here so far. In Charlotte this year, he made 4 of 7, and that is a shot that he's been working on. That's why he did not go to Spain to play alongside brother Juancho in that latest FIBA window, qualifying window for the World Cup in China next year. Graham with a miss. Now, when Juancho and Billy were playing, their mother Margarita, who's of German descent, had been a member of the Spanish national team. So the way to get these young boys ready and a little, thicker skinned she would invite her teammates, all retired of course, and let's come home and just play with the boys and just get them toughen them up. Well, one day, one of those boys, I'm not sure if it's Billy or Juancho, knocked one of these ladies hard. There may have been blood involved. That was the end of that.
Well, it was a good idea.
Yes.
I like both of them. Actually, had a chance to meet their mother.
San Martin with a score.
On the board again. Had a chance to meet her. She was in New York and watched Billy at Christmas Day. He had just played Juancho. I mean, that's got to be amazing, for a mother to do that. See those guys go.
Wayne Bacon scores for the Hornets.
I had a chance to do that a little bit when I coached Brooke Lopez in Brooklyn, and see those two, Brooke and Robin, go against each other.
Yes.
Kind of amazing.
He's now headed to Milwaukee.
That is a great pickup for Mike Budenholzer and their team in Milwaukee.
What is the role of the center right now in the NBA?
Well, again, it's vastly different from team to team, but Brooke is one of the ones that can do it both ways. As Miles Bridges said, the shots weren't going, that one went. Brooke can score inside. Brooke's a post-up player that if you don't play him, he's going to score or get fouled, and he'll pass the ball out if he's double-teamed. But he's also a pick-and-pop player at 7 feet. He shot more threes this past year than he shot in his career. So he has the versatility for Mike Budenholzer to use him whichever way he chooses to.
But if you used him, how's his pick-and-roll coverage?
Pick-and-roll coverage is not his forte, but again, you take it away. You can't have everything. You want a guy who's good inside, good outside, is a willing passer. He can also block shots. You have to give up something. I mean, you can't do everything. He's not terrible outside, but he doesn't have great foot speed. If your 5-man is good enough to put in pick and rolls, if your 5-man's not a good pick and pop player, then he can just play soft, and it's not going to hurt as much. So it all comes down to in the NBA, as it often does, to the matchups. Who do you have at that position? Who do I have? And how are we going to play or take advantage of that?
As Billy will go to the line. He's 9 for 27 behind the arc for his career. That's 33%. And we may see production this year from him that may equal or surpass that total. Kind of like what happened to Horford in Atlanta in this last couple of years there.
Exactly. He's a young player still improving.
And Brooke Lopez as well.
Well, I think without question. I think that's going to turn out to be an excellent trade for the Bucks.
Garrett Henry blocked by Hernan Gomez. Another block by Bridges.
Thought we were going to have a couple players sitting in our lap right there, Alvaro.
Quick foul on Graham.
Charlotte foul number 4, Devontae Graham, his first team foul on the Hornets.
Good penetration, a block by Hernan Gomez. Offensive rebound, rejection by Miles Bridges. Shot it so quick you never noticed, but once that first block occurred, shot clock were running down. You had to get the second one up. That's why Miles was able to knock it out of there.
Hassan Martin with a miss. As we get word, this is not a Woj bomb, of course. It's more of a Woj firecracker. Officially, LeBron James has signed a 4-year, $153 million deal with the Lakers. It's amazing to watch him work here in Vegas and realize that he's probably cooking up some breaking news. As Gershon Yabusele goes right up to the rim. Bridges.
Not quite there.
No. Have you noticed that his stance is different with every shot?
Well, I think he's not comfortable shooting, and I think the range is a little bit of a challenge for him. But, I mean, he's been a good shooter before. I think it'll take him time. He'll adjust. He'll become a good shooter in the NBA.
5.5 to go in the third. When we come back, a very special guest. We brought him down from the stands. Brad Stevens will join us. Earlier graphic where under Brad Stevens, the Boston Celtics have a winning percentage that tops the prior year. This year they ended up with 55 wins once again in the Eastern Conference Finals. Very close to winning that 7th game and making it through to the final.
Technical for Boston.
Gordon Hayward, of course, was missing in action, unfortunately, at the beginning, 5 minutes into the season, as we see a technical foul. J.P. McClure had something to say, and the referees just did not agree with it and called the team. Brad, it's a pleasure to have you here. We were just watching you sit in the stands, and we're trying to talk about, for players who stick around in Boston for a few years and learn the system, what is a Brad Stevens-like player? Everybody's different. They have different skills. But what would, in essence, be some qualities that they need to have to do well and thrive for several years in a row under your system?
Well, I don't think our system is not going to be based on anything more than just trying to play to our players' strengths and trying to figure out how we can ride those guys, because those, we've got really talented players. We've had really talented players before them, and we've been fortunate enough to get a chance to coach them. So it's has nothing to do with a system that you're fitting people to. It's more about how you can fit yourself to them.
That's why Brad has been so successful, because he's had a lot of players in and out. They've had a lot of injuries. I'm sure you're thrilled seeing us document up here putting Gordon and Kyrie up on the board, like you'd forgotten that happened during the year.
I'll tell you what, and those guys, I really felt for them. Gordon went through it the whole year. Kyrie in April and May, that was hard on those guys. That is a hard thing when you're at the level those two are at, and to have to sit and watch.
Well, especially
that's
in
tough.
Gordon's case, to be looking forward so much to being a part of what you guys had going. And Kyrie to be in the middle of it, and everything was going so well, and then to have their seasons end. I mean, that's a horrible thing. I got to go back. I know you'll appreciate this. I thought when we documented that it was a JP technical, that was a shock for a former Butler coach to see a Xavier player get a technical foul.
It's not
Isn't that
all that
amazing?
bad. Yeah, we don't mind seeing Xavier get technical fouls. In fact, we encourage it at Hinkle Fieldhouse.
Alex Barlow, one of your former players, is with Maine, and also now will be working with Robert Williams. What is going to be his charge?
Well, that's not unusual for us. So all of our assistant coaches are assigned between 1 and 3 players, and it's to get with the players, determine what they want to improve on, determine what we think fits with how they will be used within our system, so that they can increase or expedite their curve, especially when you're a young player. We're really fortunate to have a great staff and a lot of options, and Alex is a really good coach. He's a really good young guy. He's totally eats, sleeps, and breathes it. I think that Robert will enjoy working with him, but everybody else will too. It's not something where it'll just be one guy.
Brad, a little bit of the background, the thought that went into Robert being available at 27. Of course, we're talking about Robert Williams out at Texas A&M, and maybe an update now on his medical. Will we see him again in summer
That's
league?
a good question. We're getting he's really day-to-day. I mean, I get an update every morning on whether he's going to play or not, so it's not like he'd be ruled out of summer league by any means. I think it's very, very possible that he could play Wednesday or Thursday, whenever our next game is. We were fortunate. We felt fortunate that he slipped to us at 27. He's a guy that can really get to the rim, play way above the rim. And the way that he can impact the ball defensively, both bigs and littles, I mean, he has incredible length. 7'6" wingspan, 9'4" standing reach. This is a guy that can really impact people with the ball.
2-time Defensive Player of the Year, obviously.
2 tries.
In a heck of a conference.
That's right.
So he did an exceptional job. Looking forward to watching him play. Hey, when you get a chance, you've got a lot of your current guys around the roster, Shemi and Gershon, Kadeem Allen with a shot, Jabari Bird. Your impressions of the way they've conducted themselves so far here?
Yeah, they've been good. We're looking for just small incremental gains like any other time. I think sometimes in the summer league, guys are asked to do more than they necessarily would in a game. All 4 of those guys, because of our injury situation, started games for us in the last 2 weeks of the season, and then Shemi in the playoffs. Mm-hmm. And so this is a good opportunity for them to continue being on the right track. And they all work. They're all really good teammates. They're all really good guys. So it's been fun to watch. I think this is the best game we've played as a summer league team. With the exception of the end of the first half was kind of a comedy of errors, but other than that, it's been pretty good.
Now, some of your, third-line players ended up playing because of the injuries. You're getting the Hayward back. You're getting Irving back. You're getting Brown to develop. You're getting Tatum to continue to develop. How does that work? I mean, there are enough minutes for all those guys. How does that work for you?
Well, yeah, you can only play 5 at a time. So, like, at the end of the day, I think our guys understand that. We have a chance to have a good team, and we have a chance to have a team back that experienced a lot, and hopefully gained a lot from that experience. And, the most important thing when you step on a court and put a Celtics uniform on is you're trying to win that game. And that's what we all have to do. We all have to add value to that. And there will be times where we all get more opportunities than others, but I gather from all of our guys that we're ready to get started.
Can you stick around?
Yeah,
he'll stick around.
Super.
On that graphic must have been taken in 2013-14. Ever since then, it's been smiles and smiles, and the smiles getting broader and broader and broader. Of course, you want to get to the finals. You want to win the finals. Now the East is different, right? You just heard the news today. LeBron officially a Laker. He signed the deal today. The East has changed. I'm not sure it's gotten too much easier. How do you see it?
There's nothing easy in coaching. You're trying to win the next game. Winning a game is hard, and certainly winning a series is hard, and there's so many things that go into getting an opportunity to compete in the playoffs, let alone advance in the playoffs, that you have to start in day one. You can't skip steps. And if you do skip steps, the game will tell you, you'll be humbled very quickly. And so at the end of the day, there's a lot of good teams, there's a lot of good players, and it's about who plays the best. And, we did a lot of good things last year, but that doesn't mean it's going to happen again. You have to make it happen again, and that starts when we all get back together in training camp.
Alvaro, was funny when we were talking during the commercial. I talked to Brad, and I'm saying, well, we went through this guy, that guy. We forgetting anybody? And he goes, yeah, the same guy everybody always forgets.
Nobody ever talks about Al.
How about Al Horford? It's amazing.
Al's probably, I know this, Al's probably at home watching the game, enjoying time with his kids and his wife, and not caring one bit that he's not the first question asked by everybody. I just did a media scrum with Boston media, and we talked about all kinds of things, and not Al. And Al, but that's what's beautiful about him. And you talk about a guy he's the oldest player on our team, and you can't have a better leader because he's only cares about winning. That's the only thing that matters to him. It's why he plays. That's how he goes about his business. He sets a great example. I told Robert Williams, ultimately all you have to do is watch. And all you have to do is, and if you do that, you're going to be successful.
That assist number jumps out at me, 4.8 assists when he's with Boston. He's such a facilitator for you guys on offense.
He really is. We try to play through him quite a bit. And, he's one of these guys that I thought got ahead of the curve. As the game became more spread out and bigs were asked to do more, he changed his game by increasing his range in his late 20s. And that was a huge thing. And now for us, he'll initiate offense. He can play off closeouts, and obviously he can shoot the ball. And, teams are a lot less likely to give up those open shots to guys like Allen. So the ability to put the ball on the floor and pass the ball is critical.
He began to do that in Atlanta, but he said that in recruiting by Boston, one of the first things out of your mouth was, you really could facilitate starting our offense. And to him, it was like, oh, great, somebody sees what I see.
Well, we had it was interesting this year because we had, at one point in time, we had Smart, Larkin, and Kyrie out in January. And so all we had from a point guard standpoint was Terry Rozier. And so when Terry sat, Al ran the point. And, we played out of all kinds of just simple actions, but it was great because, he could bring the ball up. He's a great passer. He's a very unselfish player. He's good with getting you into offense, and so we've been fortunate enough to be able to have him do that. So.
And smart enough to realize what you had when you got him, and put him in situations that he could take advantage of. Go back with me. We got a minute left. Sitting here last year, he obviously was a heck of a player. We knew that from watching him in college. Jason Tatum played extremely well here last year. Did you think he could do what he did this year?
I don't think it's our job as coaches to put ceilings on guys. At the same time, I think that when you consider the fact that he was 19 when the season started, 20 when it ended, and the consistency with which he played, and the way his game rose after January. A lot of times people hit a wall and stop and fade. He just kept getting better and better and better all the way through the playoffs. We've talked a lot about this summer with him, like this can't be the highlight though. you know, and it's about going back to work and getting even better at some of the things you want to get better at, and getting stronger and working on some of those things that people are inevitably going to try to take away, because he's got a chance to be special. But, you know, special's not for everybody. And so, you know, but we think he certainly can be, and we believe in him.
You mentioned that the game exposes you if you're not ready. When do you take the time to plan and say, well, for next year, when do you do that? During the season?
I think
after
you're
the
always
season?
doing that, and PJ would attest to this. You don't have a plane flight where the pen and paper aren't out thinking about that. But I think I really lock into it when our roster's set. You know, and so we know exactly what we have. Now, I thought that was the case last August, and it flipped on August 25th.
Everything goes out the window.
So it goes out the window, all those pieces of paper.
The life of a coach, Brad Stevens, thank you again. Congratulations.
Thanks.
Good luck next year as well. Thank you. That are changing the game for women and girls. Go to WNBA.com/take-a-stand to purchase a ticket today, as the Aces are represented here in Vegas.
Yeah, used to be in San Antonio. Bill Lambert's doing a good job. They're not where they want to be in the standings yet. They're not where my Seattle Storm are yet, that's for sure.
Yes.
Best record in the West, tied for the best record in the West.
Brianna Stewart doing tremendous work as well.
And Sue Bird still going super strong.
10-point Celtic lead.
Charlotte's got a run left in him. Got to get the ball inbounds. Boy, hate to waste a timeout to do that. Worst place in the world to inbound the ball, deep in the corner, along the baseline or on the side.
So they'll regroup, and Jay Hernandez will get them going after we come back.
Coverage of MGM Resorts NBA Summer League 2018 is brought to you by Golden Corral's 99-cent Kids Nights, now every night at dinner.
Welcome back to the Cox Pavilion on the campus of Nevada, Las Vegas. Jared Utoff is hot from downtown, and his Celtic teammates are finding him. He's 3 for 4 from outside the arc. He's done a really good job, and the bench has delivered for Jay Larranaga. 27-17 for the Celtic bench.
Utoff again, now with 60.
On cue, thank you, Jared.
Yes, indeed. That was part of the package, of course. Jason in the play. Jay was busy in the interviewing circuit this offseason. A number of teams, including Milwaukee and New York and Charlotte, took a look at him.
It won't be long. I agree with you, Alvaro. He's going to get a job. He's too good a coach, and this team is doing too well. And oftentimes that's the way it is. See so many of the San Antonio coaches who learned under Greg Popovich.
Davis with a pump fake. Nice move against Petrasek.
Yeah, he took himself out of the play. Really heady play there.
Bacon drives. He's fouled. No, it's a bucket. Goaltending by Utoff. It's got 10 points.
Going to be both. One official, the slot official, has the goaltending. And I think Lauren on the other side has the foul. He's going to get an and-one situation.
First team foul on the Celtics.
I see the goaltending. I didn't see the foul, but he's going to get the free throw.
Bacon
Lauren Niemer, I can't second-guess her call. Sorry, Lauren.
Dwayne Bacon completes the three-point play for the Hornets.
Dwayne Bacon had been missing from outside, right? He's been driving the ball more and more and getting himself confident and into the game. Davis misses, and Cura back in the game. Called up for a tee early in the second half. There you go, the drive by Bacon. And he stays on the floor. But he's okay. Davis all the way.
Ray Davis on the drag for Boston.
Every time you think Charlotte's going to make a run, they miss a layup on their end and don't get a stop on the other end, and it stays at double digits.
We were chatting right after the Brad Stevens interview how even in our discussion, is to break things down very simply and lower the difficulty level, the expectation. He just has a way. If he talks to us like that, that's exactly how he talks to his players.
Well, no, it is. And as I told you, I got a chance to do a lot of their games that first year. That first year was his least successful year. But you can still see when you watch Brad coach at practice, when you watch him at shoot-arounds, yeah, of course, during the game it's obvious. But when you see the preparation and how he brings the guys along and the way he relates to the players, I mean, it was obvious right from the beginning that he was going to be successful. And he's a very special coach.
Long distance shot by Hernan Gomez. It's no good.
Though he's still working on, 3 double-doubles, but not nearly as effective as he was in the first 2 games.
Nice hesitation. Better defense by Hernan Gomez. And Bridges comes up with the ball. Travel. Brad will go back to his seat. We remind you that the NBA Summer League continues next over on ESPNU. It's the Bucks, Nuggets, and then Nets, Timberwolves. Both games also streaming live on the ESPN app. Robert Williams' teammate Tyler Davis will be playing for the Brooklyn Nets in that game against the Timberwolves. Coming up later on tonight. Oh, exactly the way Shemi Urle wanted to score the foul on Makura. A hard foul, but he still pulled it through.
55, J.P. Makura, his second personal foul.
Shemi looked skyward. He knew that was somewhat of an accident or very fortuitous that it went in.
So you're the Charlotte Hornets. You've ended up with 36 wins in each of the last 2 seasons, which in the East puts you not too far away from making the playoffs. You still have your core. You've actually added some assets. You've added some youngsters. You have a new philosophy, a new way of playing. Is this a team that we need to keep an eye on next year? Or is it too early?
But I think it's a little early. To get realistic expectations, no, I think it's a little early. When you've got one of the talented players in the league, in Kemba Walker, that's a huge plus. But I think that's probably asking a little bit this year in their first year together. Some new players and obviously a new coaching staff. Good finish in there from Gershon. But the theme in the East this year is going to be, hey, the road to the finals is open now. There's been a roadblock for the last 8 years, so everybody's going to be looking at it saying, Mitch Kupchak, James Borrego right there, hey, we can get there. And I think it's true for a team like Boston that was knocking on the door at the top. Very realistic. Hey, we can get to the finals. We can win a championship, and we can compete with those teams in the West. For teams like Charlotte that were just out of the playoffs, they were close enough, and they feel they can make the move. So I think it'll be different expectations, but I think the theme is going to be very similar.
I think teams like Charlotte will look at what happened to Indiana last season and say, well,
they should.
Why can't we?
Exactly right. No one expected Indiana to do what they did. Kevin Pritchard, Nate McMillan deserve an enormous amount of credit, of course, with obviously Victor Oladipo. So you're not that far off.
And, of course, they're hosting the All-Star game this season, so they've got every incentive to have that kind of a game. As we see an offensive foul, as we take a look at those standings, 36 wins on Charlotte, 7 games out of the final qualifying spot.
We had Detroit earlier. You talk about an injury, a simple thing like an injury here or there. It was that close, and all the way up to 6th place, 44, 44, 43. It wasn't like there was a big gap. There wasn't a big gap. So I think there's reason for everybody to be optimistic. You all say the same things at the beginning of the year, but you have to have realistic expectations. And I think if Charlotte is able to compete for that 7th or 8th spot in the East, that would be, I think that would really be an achievement. But I also think it's realistic for them to look around their locker room and say, hey, we can get there. It's not out of the question. If they're going to say, hey, we're going to be home court, we're going to get like 2 rounds into the playoffs, that may be unrealistic. Getting into the playoffs No, I think that's something they can aspire for. I think it would be a tremendous accomplishment.
Is the fact that Kemba is will be finishing up the last year of his contract, will be even an issue?
I don't think so. I just think that he's established. I think for players that are just looking for their first, big contract, and players that really haven't a body of work that you can talk about. When you've done what Kemba Walker's done already,
All-Star game.
I don't think he's going to feel the pressure. It's he's going to have the normal pressure. He's got to go out and compete every night and be successful, but I don't think the contract's going to be on his mind. I think he knows what he's capable of. I think he knows the league knows what he's capable of. Sometimes for younger guys, or guys really trying to establish themselves, that contract year could be a bear to deal with.
Now Gomez with a nice drop step and a dunk.
Gomez, flush.
14 points, 10 rebounds. He's got the double-double again.
Charlotte, technical foul, number 41, Billy Hernan Gomez.
And Hernan Gomez had been warned about delay of game. Now he gets a technical foul.
Way to go, Dave Freed. He's been kind of quiet lately, our crack statistician. Does this game lead the Summer League in technical fouls? Seems we've had more technical fouls than anybody here. JP gets one, Willie gets another one. Willie's got a smile on his face. Jay Hernandez not smiling. Oh, Dave did just point out something very important to me. No fines for technical fouls in Summer League. It would have been a rude awakening for JP McCure to find out technical fouls cost money in Summer League.
So it's like having 10 fouls in this opening round of the Summer League.
Exactly.
It comes down after the championship level, it comes down to 6.
Alvaro, you've seen so much international basketball. That's a rule I would love to see, where they count a technical foul in the personal foul total, because that would clean up a lot of the technical fouls in our league. They've had that internationally for a long time.
Yeah, I agree with that, but the only thought is, will they take away the fines if they put in the rule?
No, they're definitely not going to take away the fines, because there's a lot of guys that will just wait until the game is settled one way or the other, and they'll gladly write the check to be able to vent and say what they want to say.
Plus a lot of good works that receive money at the end of the year.
All goes to charity.
It all goes to charity. Yep. We don't know which ones, but we're told it all goes to charity, and I'm sure it does.
Draymond, Golden State would have nothing to complain about. Draymond, now KD is in the mix also.
You never got a technical, right?
I didn't get one my first year. I got some after that. When I got the Portland job, one of the things a couple of refs told me was, hey, your team cries too much. You got to minimize your technical fouls. I said, okay. So I said to the players early in the year, I'm not going to get a technical foul. They all laughed. Willie from downtown. And I did. I went through the first year without getting one. It may have been the only year I went without getting a technical
When you have
foul.
to write the check, did it bother you?
No, did not. Usually
it
was
had
worth
a purpose.
it.
It had a purpose.
Yeah, exactly. Sometimes it had a purpose in terms of strategy. You're trying to motivate your players. They're trying to get a call. Sometimes you just wanted to get it off your chest. Whatever it cost, it was worth it.
Fight for the ball. Here come the Celtics. And a foul by Graham.
And truth be told, Alvaro, for most of my years, I was single. I didn't get married until right after my Golden State year, so I didn't have to go home and explain how I took the money right out of the kids' mouths.
Back in the Boston lineup, number 30, Sean Yabusele.
Davis gets a hand from his teammates.
Did a good job, late addition.
They lost Lloyd at the last minute. They brought him in, literally a last-minute replacement to the roster, and he played very well today.
Yeah, I'm liking the name on the back. You know, I'm happy. Nike, obviously the new sponsor, they make the uniforms now in the league. To not have the reversible jerseys or the practice uniforms here, to have these beautiful uniforms that all the teams are wearing with the names on the back. So, well done. You made our job easier. Plus, it looks a lot better.
And one more thing. And this is something that the NBA should take from the Summer League. I love the large numbers.
Oh, for sure. I couldn't agree with you more.
Love them. The look of these large numbers really makes a difference, not just for someone watching at home, but also if you're watching from the back row
from
here.
The stands, it makes a difference.
Big
and again,
difference.
We also see the new what the NBA started with a had it first in the G League and in the WNBA. The sponsorship left GE, the sponsor here, the Celtics. That's great. I wasn't sure what that was going to be like. It's not like the international when the sponsor's the big name and you don't even know what team you're rooting for unless you live in that country. I think this balance is great. You got the swoosh on one side and you got the sponsor on the other.
I saw Perry Henry play a preseason tournament in college where they were invited. They were one of 8 teams, and they were thought to be the team that was not going to make it to the championship round. Day 1, they beat Georgetown, and they just rolled after that. They won the entire tournament undefeated, and he was a big part of that. Very heady player.
Jay Larranaga was bubbling over, talking about him, talking about his understanding of the game and his ability to run a team. I shouldn't say to run, to lead a team.
Played for Tofas in Turkey this past season. Led the team in assists with 6 per game.
Biggest lead of the game. I thought Charlotte was ready to make a run, and instead it's gone the other way. You talk about Turkey, our buddy Maurizio Giardini, who used to be, years ago, ran Treviso Benetton. Now he's at Fenerbahce in Turkey, and we worked together in Toronto. Had Jay Triano on before when Jay was the head coach. Maurizio was Brian Colangelo's assistant.
What's up, push, ref?
Mauricio also helped the Canadian Federation get to where it is. Right?
Yes, he did. He's been great for basketball in general, obviously more so international, but a lot of people thought he would be the first general manager in the NBA. Another 3.
He's got 20. Another switch, and here comes Bird. All net. Great confidence. And just like he did with Willie, when the defender just backed off, he waited and waited. Okay, ready.
2 minutes remaining in regulation time.
In and out for Bridges.
Tough shot, step back 3, but in and out.
Hesitation move by Henry, and he gets the bucket and the foul.
Henry comes the bucket, he'll go to the line.
And that extends the lead to 17.
Miles Bridges, that time he does a good job. He gets his feet together, knocks it down. Now it's Jabari on the other end, rises up, knocks it down. 3s are falling.
Come tomorrow on ESPNU and ESPN2. It all starts at 4:30 Eastern on ESPNU with Jazz Heat. Then on ESPN2, it's Kings Grizzlies and Lakers Knicks. All games also streaming live on the ESPN app. And now with Pierre Henry scoring, we have, 7 players in double digits, and they have not crossed the 100-point mark.
Balanced scoring, share the ball. Different players, different nights.
Gabe DeVoe with a 3, just stepping in to the game, stepping into that 3. Gabe DeVoe was a teammate of Jerron Blassingame at Clemson. Blassingame now starting for the summer Spurs.
Doing a good job, too. Helped lead the Spurs to the G League championship last year. This year, I should say.
Look at the alley-oop. And the ball's out of bounds. Tremendous effort by Jabari Bird. He's had himself a game as well. 16 points, 5 assists, 2 rebounds, a steal.
Been a busy man.
And Henry makes the 3.
Henry, Celtics 3 ball.
I think the players are getting more accustomed to the line. Maybe the first game, so a little bit better. The more they play, the better they are in terms of knowing just the difference, how deep for the college, for the rookies, the international players, the adjustment to the NBA line.
But I think it will be an adjustment for Gershon Yabusele and Shemi and Jabari Bird, if he makes the team at this point, when you get these two guys back, you've got Robert Williams. I mean, the depth of this team is such that the people who would get some minutes because of injuries are right now maybe on the outside looking in.
No, you're exactly right. And again, playing time on a good team, even more difficult to accomplish.
Now that doesn't shouldn't make you feel bad. I mean, the problem is that you're also going to leave the system and the team that made you so successful. That's never comfortable.
No, exactly. That's a dilemma for a team. Do you want to be somebody who doesn't get a lot of playing time on a really good team, or do you want to be somewhere else on a lesser team, but you get more run?
And where do you fall out on that? If you're a young player like these, get the minutes?
You got to take the minutes. You got to go where you get a chance to play. Because if you're not playing, it's hard to show what you're capable of. Again, though, Alvaro, that's where the G League is really important. You can go down to G League, and if you can show the big team just how good you are, they're going to be patient with you. But if you're not getting the playing time, if you don't have that opportunity that we have nowadays in the G League, they may never know that.
And that is the end of the game. The Celtics beat the Hornets 100-80. 7 Celtics in double figures. A tremendous display of shared offense here by the Celtics. They shot 53% from the field, and they had no turnovers in the first quarter of the game. For Charlotte, they now have their first loss in 3 games as they now enter into the championship phase. Milwaukee and Denver will be coming up next as the league continues on ESPN2 and ESPNU. And of course, the Celtics are also 2-1. We'll have all 30 teams ranked, and then they will start the championship round on Wednesday. Again, all those games are going to be on NBA TV and on the ESPN family of network.
Well, that's going to be a little bit different than when you're all of a sudden you're playing now and it really matters, and that's what we're looking at going forward. These 3 games have been important, but it's a little bit different situation. I just played a 3 game. These are fine. Now we've got the matchups, and you win, you're out of the championship.
And George Sedano is with a very special guest.
Thank you, Alvaro. I'm here with Shemi Ojale. Shemi, as he gets congratulated by his teammate there, Jaylen Brown. Shemi, so much experience for you as opposed to a lot of these players here. Started games in the regular season, started a playoff game. What is it like to be in this environment, considering your experience?
It feels good just to be able to get out here and grow. You know, every time you step on the court, it's an opportunity to come out here and grow with your teammates and try to get wins. So I think that's the most important thing, just playing to win. Specifically, though, for you, what are things you would like to work on while you're out here? Right, just being a more consistent shooter. You know, being aggressive on offense. I think last year, defense what got me out there, but I think if I can be a threat on offense, it'll help my team. You guys are going to have a lot more guys in this on this roster next year because Gordon's back, Kyrie will be back. How do you feel about that moving forward for yourself and this team? It'll be great. You have guys like that on your team, you always want them on the floor. So, I think the rest of us will adjust easily. I think all the guys on the court want to win at all times. So, having that out there is just an extra boost for us. Shemi, thank you so much. Congratulations. Thank you. All right, take care. Guys, back to you.
Thank you very much, George. 100-80 is the final score.
Well, they jumped him early. You talked about it, not turning the ball over in the first quarter and shooting the ball the way they did. They just got him. I kept waiting because Charlotte had played so well coming into this game. I kept waiting for Charlotte to make a run, but it just didn't materialize. The ball movement was very good, and the balanced scoring. When you talk about 7 guys in double figures, it's really hard to set your defense when you have that many people playing well, and they were. There was good movement, good shooting, and the defense was pretty good. That's a great recipe.
And chances are the team that's going to make it to the championship game here in Vegas has already lost a game. In other words, these 3 games helped them sort of gel as a team.
No, I think it's happened almost every year. The last 2 years, the team that won the championship lost their first game, and then they got on a run and won after that. And I think the balance this year, one of the things that I don't know if people are saying it enough, this is an exceptional draft class. It's a very good class. There's a lot of talented young players. They're a little bit up and down because you expect that first time playing with their teams. I think when we get into the tournament phase of the NBA Summer League, I think we're going to see a lot of upsets.
One thing that we saw from Boston again at this level is great defense.
No question. But again, different teams, the emphasis are different. That's always been an emphasis. Brad, from the first day he was there, made that an emphasis. We heard Shemi talking about, what are the things that they're asked to do. They tell their players, look, you need to do this. And if you don't defend, you're not going to play. Hey, it's one thing to say it. It's another thing to make teams do that. They do it. That's why they're successful.
And it's the third game in a row that Jabari Bird does it all for the Celtics as well.
Jabari Bird, he did everything. I mean, he didn't just shoot the ball well. He shot it exceptionally well. But the rebounds, the assists, the entire thing, I was really impressed. Beautiful pass in there to get it going. 7 for 11 from the field. Yeah, that's great. 2 for 2 from downtown. He got 3 boards. He got 5 assists. Some of the shots were easy, some of them not so easy. Didn't matter. Jabari got it done. Throw a steal in also. So he did a little bit of everything. He's trying to make his case. Again, you talked about it. When you're on a really talented team, a deep team, a winning team with a lot of good players, it's hard. He was a two-way player last year. Spent a lot of time in Maine with the Red Claws. He wants to get more time in Boston. He wants to play in TD Garden, not in Maine.
He's incredibly efficient. 7 of 11. He made 16 shots at points on 11 shots. That's almost 1.5 points per shot. That's excellent in any league. What's interesting to me is that his spot may be vulnerable with the Celtics. So in a way, he may be playing for a spot in the league, and he'll probably get it.
Well, Alvaro, that's a great point. You're not just playing necessarily for the team that you're with. A lot of these guys are not under contract. And it's not just Brad Stevens and Danny Ainge watching this game. It's GMs and coaches from all the other teams, player personnel directors. So again, there's a lot of NBA eyes on you. More so the fact there's all 30 teams in here. So you get a slot. Maybe it's not going to be in Boston or in Maine. Be somewhere else.
Well, and you never get the feeling that he's pressing at any moment here in Vegas. Coming up next, we've got the Bucks and the Warriors. We kept an eye on the entire night was Miles Bridges of the Charlotte Hornets.
Yeah, and Alvaro, you made a good point when we first looked at this. His feet are set. He hasn't shot a good percentage during the tournament because he's been a little off balance or he's been floating right or left. Devontae Graham finds him that time in good rhythm. When you get your feet set and you're shooting with more confidence, I believe he can be a good shooter. He's shown us that. The shots he's missed, he hasn't been on balance. And I think that's going to come with time.
And in the second half, he made 5 of 7 overall, 3 of 5 from 3. You were saying he's missing some shots, he's scuffing. But we also have some sound. Let's listen to Miles Bridges' game today.
Wait. Get back. Hey. Come on, Billy. Hey, wait for me to space, Billy. Wait for me to space. I was getting out your way. Stay solid. Lead lefty, T. Oh, no, stay solid. No, Luke, stay solid. 5 seconds, Luke. Hey, by yourself, Shannon. Bottom. Hey. I'm here. Yes, sir!
Always active, even if his shot's not falling. Every GM dreams of taking a young player like Miles Bridges and develop him quickly so we can get that veteran that may be a little bit too expensive and move on to another place.
He's going to be a good player. He stayed an extra year. One of the reasons he's talking so much was Izzo talked all the time. Tom Izzo when he was playing for him. So now he's got a chance to say something. He learned very well from a great coach. He's going to be an excellent player, Alvaro. No question.
And he will be vying for minutes that right now Nicolas Batum has. Part of a good rotation that may take Charlotte further and the 36 wins for the last 2 years. For PJ Carlesimo and George Sedano, this is Alvaro Martin. Thanks for joining us. The Celtics beat the Hornets 180 here at the Las Vegas Summer League. Good night.